It's been a long time coming and it's so lovely to be here with you in Victoria. Now tell me about this amazing award that you won through AAUS.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I've won this award here. Through the AAUS, so Diversity and Inclusion. And I was nominated by a member in AAUS. And I actually wasn't there because I was actually in the Pilbara in Nullama country.
Just shy of 12 months, you were working for a drone company, but you stepped out on your own with Wuu Drone Solutions. You've done so much in 12 months, but firstly, what does Wuu stand for?
Yeah, so Wuu Drone Solutions, so my family group is Gogara Wurrungu Yankunytjatjara, up near the Kupapiti region, and Yankunytjatjara language, Wuru means good or beautiful, so good drone solutions.
With your company, you have experienced so much, like I said, within that 12 months. Tell me a little bit of some of the STEM work you've been doing with your workshops, and who have you been reaching out to?
Yeah, so Wuu Drone Solutions had an amazing opportunity to work with the Adelaide Crows Foundation in South Australia, and so it's a STEM program run through the foundation, and the amazing people of Katie and Jeremy Johncock facilitating the program, and they get Indigenous females in there, and what they do is they get them to learn STEM and also learn about the drones, and my role was to be able to get the Mini 3 Pros and show them how to use them, where to fly, where's a safe way to fly, and also using measurements. What they used to do is measure the oval, so where the 50-metre line mark was, we'll get the drones up and let them see how it's measured. We also measured the height of the buildings at the Crows Footy Club, and so we're just incorporating measurements, maths as well, and getting them to understand how to fly the drone and also just have fun.
That's fantastic. I love how you're being able to incorporate your drone technology with Indigenous people. And what we're talking about today is exploring drones in agriculture. And I know that you've met Ben Watts from Browker, and using the STEM agencies to be able to manage land, both country and also agricultural property. How have you seen the sustainability working?
Yeah, so what we look at doing and getting people to understand, especially amongst First Nations people, is using drones to manage country. So there's a land management element there, and we're making sure that we get them to use the drone, how to use the drone, what factors that you can incorporate managing cultural heritage sites and how you can preserve them. So there's more accurate measuring with photogrammetry, so the elders can look at as more of a different perspective on the land, where you would look at 2D maps when you look at cultural heritage. Now you can have a different eye view and shift this photogrammetry map around, so the elders looking at country and also the best way to manage and preserve using drone technology.
And I love the data that you get and collect from this with LiDAR and photogrammetry. It's like a big 3D picture. Can you explain more about that?
Yeah, so we get, especially working with the ranger groups in Pilbara, is getting them to understand what photogrammetry is. So you're collecting all these different photos, and then you'll stitch it together to create this 3D model. And what you get them to do is, okay, now you have a different way of managing country. You can also look at if there's water flowing from a different area to a low-lying part of the ground, so you can capture elevation models of the drone. And it's more get them to understand what photogrammetry can do to the country, and working with LiDAR and point cloud. And it's just getting them to mess with Western technology and traditional knowledges mixing together.
Drones is relatively new. How long have you been flying drones for?
Yeah, it is. I've always had a passion for aviation, love planes, anything to do with them. And I've also flown RC planes and helicopters. So always, even before they had cameras on, I used to, you buy a pen camera and you put it on the plane, and then you look at the footage later because they didn't incorporate those before. But always had a passion, always loved them, and always trying to focus on what the technology does. And also, it's more of a, now I've got some kids, they've got access to the technology and they can see how things have grown, and my son flies drones with me and he loves it just as much, so it's inspiring for him to see me do that as well.
I think that's fantastic, Chris. You're able to use your passions and what you've been doing, and you've passed it on to your son. For students and children that don't actually have access, what are some ways that they can come into drones? Is it through schools, or what would your advice be?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that people can get into it. And if people are unsure about flying drones and they have a bit of an interest, one of the best things that I love to do is I actually love to get the drone technology and run workshops in community. So especially here at near Shepparton, there's a lot of Indigenous kids that don't have access to technology, with the price. So you can run workshops and let them have a fiddle, have a bit of a play, and it'll kind of spark their interest. They'll be like, oh cool, we've got a Mavic 3, it's sitting there, I can fly it, show them, have a Mini 3 out, let them capture country, and it'll spark their interest, and they're like, oh, I love drones. But the best go between why I run these workshops is you can create a viable pathway using drones. And there's some students here, especially in regional or remote areas, they don't have access to the technology. So I'd like to bring it back to the country, and then we can figure out the best pathways for them to look at a drone pathway and what it looks like and spark their interest.
Chris, I'd like to talk about sustainability, and with weed control and weed management and looking after our crops, but also looking after our country. How can a drone be used to help out in those situations?
Yeah, there's a lot of options you can use, and the best thing about drone technology, it just keeps getting better. So we're looking at capturing data through photogrammetry. So we're obviously on a nice crop here up in Dookie, and there's heritage sites around here that's been here for thousands of years. Even though the crops have been pushed out, there's still heritage spots over by the bush reserve. So you can be able to map photogrammetry and to be able to capture where the heritage sites are and how far, and then you can make sure that they're not going to be disturbed for any future disturbances or any crops being pushed out. And also the other big thing is preserving from invasive species. So we've got a lot of nasty critters that are chewing on crops. You don't want to mess with the food sustainability, but also there's sacred trees and also bush medicines that are sacred to the Yorta Yorta people here as well. So we want to make sure they're protected. So capturing the data in real time and accurately, and making sure you create buffers to make sure they do not get disturbed from the Indigenous knowledges, but also for farmers and pastoralists as well.
Chris, I flew down here this morning to catch up with you, and I like the idea when you were talking about real time. The plane that I was in, had these views, but it's obviously something I can't capture. But when I was looking down onto country, you could see the paddocks and you can see the surrounding bushland, sort of like a bit of a patchwork. But there was a few areas where there are buffers of trees. Do you know why they're using those on paddocks now in agriculture?
Yeah, so you can see, if you haven't been in the plane, or you've been up in the plane to be able to look on the country on the ground, you can see that it's all been pushed for crops. And you can see all the sections, and the pastoralists have got their areas, but you'll see some dense vegetation, which the bushland is just on the other side here, and they've purposely left that country there to show the difference of what's been pastoralised and pushed out and made for crops, but also what the country actually looked like pre-colonisation.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what you've seen when you're using your drone?
Yeah, so sustainability in country is probably one of the first and foremost things for land management, especially for First Nations people, and making sure that countries grown back, and also creating more ecosystems and habitats for animals that were here and they're not here anymore. So using the photogrammetry, or even laying the photos of reseedling areas. Ranger groups are doing it at the moment, where country is getting replanted again, and making sure that the country is going to be growing in certain areas because it's harbouring endangered species that's there, and provide the protection. So making sure that the seedlings are growing, and then you can remap and increments to make sure that the plants are growing where they need to be. And then also you're going to do another bit of management of feral to make sure they don't disturb the seedlings, and making sure the country is just regenerating and rebuilding as well. So you're regenerating the country, and you're recreating the stories, the heritage stories for First Nations people in there as well. So it works for both. So
Chris, it's been a pleasure being out here in Dookie, and I can absolutely see why you have won the AAUS Award for Diversity and Inclusion, because what you've taught me today and what you've shared with our viewers is just absolutely wonderful. And thank you so much. Congratulations, and good luck with your future in drones.
No, thank you very much for the interview and being here, and to be able to share my knowledge, and any way that I can inspire more First Nations pilots to look after country, that's my aim. Thank you.
You've inspired me.
Yeah, thank you.